Before we start, Milos, can you introduce yourself? Then Omar, please.
Yes. Well, my name is Milos Stankovic. I'm originally from Serbia. My background is mechanical and aerospace engineering. I'm a co-founder and the CEO of a boutique consultancy firm called Pyron Technology, which is mainly focused on providing consultancy services on digital transformation, and as well as implementing and consulting on Industry 4 technologies. And we are focused, the main market is Europe, as well as the Middle East. So that's from my side. Thanks.
Thank you, Milos. Omar?
Yes, thank you very much, Shireen, for having me today, and thank you, Milos, for also being there. Thank you for everyone for attending. My name is Omar Bedair. I am the CTO of Origin Systems. I'm actually located in Canada, in North America, and we have our office also in Cairo and in other areas in the region, Dubai and Riyadh. We specialize in two major things, basically digitalization of supply chains and providing products and services that would aid our customers to track and trace their products across the supply chain. Mainly, we work with the pharmaceutical industry in this aspect. And we also provide services for manufacturing digital transformation in the areas of MES and interconnectivity of enterprise solutions within the manufacturing facility.
Thank you, and thank you for all the speakers who are staying with us. Thank you, Dr. Mohsen. Thank you, Hatan. Thank you, Wael. So we'll have quickly some panel questions, and we open the questions to everyone. Thank you, guys. So first question goes to you, Omar. What is the future of digital transformation in manufacturing? Because really, you came up with the title of the panel. So I really love it. And you know, you always have complex things happening in your head. So it's good.
No, I hope it's not really complex. Things are pretty straightforward.
Things are not easy.
In a certain sense.
Omar is always doing a great job in helping all of us to understand how things will change, how things will move. So please go on, Omar.
Well, first of all, I would like to start with actually shedding light on the problem itself. I mean, manufacturing sector as a sector maybe lags a little bit in digitally transforming. I mean, compared to other sectors like banking, insurance, healthcare, so on and so forth. And this is actually due to the fact that manufacturing has that very unique characteristics that makes it very challenging in one way for digital transformation to prevail easily as other sectors, but also this also poses huge opportunities for efficiency improvements if we are able to succeed in digitally transforming a manufacturing operation. If we look at a manufacturing organization, there is a huge, very wide spectrum of disciplines that work together in order to produce the right product at the right time in the right quantities. We see marketing people who are trying to understand the situation of the market and getting market insights about competition and macroeconomic and socioeconomic indicators. For example, we see salespeople who are trying to seize opportunities to push the product into the market and keep the capacity utilization at high rates. We see supply chain people who are working through the navigating through the uncertainties of demand and lead times with suppliers and complexities of the manufacturing operation. We see operators on the floor trying to keep up with the production schedules and changeovers and trying to conform with the product quality with quality people who might be sometimes scientists or chemists, for example, and working with maintenance people who are engineers and technical technicians to keep their lines available. We see finance people who are trying to fulfill the obligations, financial obligations of the company, so on and so forth. It's a huge team that works day in, day out together in order to fulfill the production process. We also sometimes see manufacturing operations that have retail and trade services that they have to run in order to sell their products. So there is no other sector that would need all of these interdisciplinary teams working together with very high levels of synchronization in order to produce something. So in this sense, I think digital transformation and Industry 4.0 as a movement comes to face huge challenges, not like any other sector, in order to not only digitalize each and every silo or discipline that we talked about, but also to lay a foundation for all of these disciplines to work interconnectedly and towards efficiency and towards better output. So I think we're lying ahead of very interesting times in this sense.
Yeah, if I may add, we discussed so far about the data, and I'm quite interested in all this. What manufacturing is actually generating 1.8 petabytes of data every year, which is much more than any other industry that we can think of. Basically, all this data that we have from coming from manufacturing is untapped gold, to be honest. It can be generated, all the information and the knowledge from it. Basically what Omar said, the manufacturing is, let's say, lacking or a bit slower on implementing the digital transformation initiatives than maybe some other industries. But yet I believe the future is bright, and the manufacturing, when it just reach that critical momentum, it will just start booming.
Thank you, Omar, for the answer, and thank you, Milos, for the comment.
Yeah.
And I might not agree with you, Omar, that we lack in manufacturing. We have lots of smart machines, but we are not used to using the data. So people restart the machines, throw away the data, it's in the garbage, and we don't make use of it. So it's a big challenge. Thank you.
Which is the essence of digital transformation, actually, is actually to use this data and bring value out of it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, because of data democracy. I fully agree with you guys. Fantastic start and great answer for my first question in the panel. So move on to the next question. We go to you, Milos, if you allow us.
Yeah.
Is there any possibilities for new jobs in digital transformation? Because we feel there is a disconnect between what we're learning at schools, what academia is teaching, what HR is seeing, and it's not about CTO, Chief Digital Transformation, Chief Technology Officer. We talk about the day-to-day, the jobs.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, yeah, I completely understand the question. Well, while if I pronounce it correctly, mentioned all these points very well.
Yes.
The CTOs, the CEOs currently are in 50s, 60s, and they need to do some education as well on these new technologies, while the newcomers, the new employees are very versed in technology. They're very agile, and they are very tech savvy, so they can really do quickly stuff. And looking historically, every industrial revolution actually was generating a fear that people will lose jobs because of the machines will replace them. It never happened. All from the first industrial revolution, it actually generated new jobs, but not the jobs that we expect. It actually generated a new types of jobs. So people who are in the current industry or doing the way they're doing jobs, they need to reskill. They need to change the way they're doing their jobs. They need to learn new things, to adapt, to become more agile, to become more flexible and tech savvy, definitely. So definitely the jobs of the future will become more interesting, because we will reduce the manual and boring stuff with softwares, with robots that will do these stuff for us, but we will do the fun stuff.
Yeah, can't agree with you more, Milos, on this. I want to recall something that Dr. Mohsen said during his presentation when he referred to the e-commerce platforms that would allow the consumers to rate the product on the go. With digital transformation, we see, for example, a use case where the operators on the floor will be able to directly take feedback from this information firsthand and maybe prioritize their focused improvement, which problems we're going to work on the production line, because we know this affects the product image and how the consumers use it, for example. This kind of really integrating the digital aspect in each and every employee's work is definitely going to change things. And definitely, if it works well, organizations will be more agile, more customer-centric, and more efficient in the way they do things.
Exactly. Yeah.
I have a
Actually, I may add also, we all can notice the young people who work in the digital marketing area now.
Yes.
It's a huge business, man.
Yeah.
Everyone works in it. And of course, we have noticed that the new title is has risen, the Chief TKO, the Chief Knowledge Officer. It's, of course, now we see it. And of course, we understand that it's a leverage for the business acumen and technology as well.
I would like to make a comment here, especially for my colleague Wael. I just, I enjoyed your presentation, but I was scared of, and I think there was a couple of questions that you did not emphasize that the decision-making is data-based. In other words, you must have the data before you are able to make a decision at all the levels, from the CEO all the way down to the youngster,
Frontline.
On the line. And this is very important because I think there are a couple of people who actually asked this question while you were talking. Also, you talked about digital education, which is very important. Nowadays, especially in the West, in the US, my grandkids actually started to learn Python programming. And we're talking about 9-year-old. So, the future is you have to know programming, whether you are working in business or working in manufacturing. It really doesn't matter whether you're a scientist or anything else. So this is becoming, learning a programming language is learning like English or Arabic or whatever the case might be.
Great to know, Professor. Great to know.
Yeah, so I think we are all saying the same thing, that we cannot live without data in the first place. But how you collect the data is very important. Knowledge of what data you collect, because you get a lot of garbage, and garbage in is garbage out.
Yeah.
So we need really to be able to really sift through the data so that we can actually give the advice to our managers to make the proper decision.
True, very true.
So if we move to the next question, I'm so happy about the answers, interaction. I'm thrilled. I'm so happy.
We're very good, Yashreen. We are very good, actually.
You're the best, Omar. You're the best.
Please interfere and share as well. So, Omar, are people ready to adapt to digital transformation challenges? What do you think?
Well, I believe that people should not wait to be ready for something. I mean, readiness to change is a mere output of active decision making. People need to decide to be ready for change. Otherwise, they will just be waiting on the fence forever until they have to change under panic, which is a very bad situation, actually, very risky situation. So people need to decide that they should be ready, and everyone should be doing this. Smart people who want to lead their careers and who are actually leaders of their own career should be deciding to be ready for this change. And leaders of organizations also need to decide to initiate this change and make their organizations ready towards this. This readiness can come in several forms. For example, being open to the technology landscape and understanding how the technologies are emerging and how they can help me as an industry professional in the very specific area of responsibility that I own. But also it can come in a form of being open to collaboration, because now I'll be exposed to new data that comes from other departments, for example, and this dictates that I will have to be collaborative with that other department to work on this data and come up with new outputs, whatever they are, either analysis or actions and decision making, as Dr. Mohsen said, data-driven decision making. It might also be being open to new ways of doing things, so on and so forth. Everyone should make themselves ready by learning, understanding, and exposing themselves to the new wave of knowledge because change is coming anyway.
Actually, I'm second also the comments from Brother Omar. I believe change is not comfortable. So people will get affected from having that change. And also, I'm referring back to the point that was raised by Brother Wael. If you go to the past and recall the past, no one lost his job because of new technologies has been introduced. So I believe with the time, people will start adapting. Because imagine now, if someone is not using a smartphone, his life will be stopped. He cannot go and do anything. He cannot search for information. He cannot, for example, as I'm saying in Saudi, he will not be able to renew his passport, his ID. So his job will end here. So I believe with the time, they will get used to it. No matter the age, I believe the constraints in our mind. It's not about being an old or young. If you believe, you will do.
I would like to add something. Definitely, I agree with everything that was said. It's basically related to the culture, but not just the culture of the company, how CEO sees everything and oversees everything. It's the culture of the industry itself, if it's a traditional industry or it's something like some innovative industry, but it's also a culture of the country or the region. So me personally, I worked in Dubai for 8 years, so I have experience from Middle East and in Europe. I know how in UAE and Saudi Arabia, because I worked in both places, I understand how people were more, let's say, fast to accept new changes or at least jump on new ideas. Well, while in Europe, it's always, let me think about it. Let's first see how this will go. Okay, let's do this test and that test. Maybe we will then do some, I don't know, investment. In UAE, in Saudi Arabia, it was much faster. So it's the culture that actually drives people to change to change their minds or change the way they work.
May I have an input, a slight input in here?
Yeah.
It all starts with the top management support fellows. If the top management are determined to have the change, it will happen.
Yes, I want to second you on this.
So
I want to second you on this because Milos now referred to Dubai and Riyadh as areas where they're open to change and so on and so forth. And I think this comes from the fact that the country leaders themselves are taking both countries into very aggressive change. And this makes people open to change. So it always starts with leadership. Thank you very much, Wael. This is exactly what we believe.
Now the Emirati people are embracing change. They are change leaders themselves. They are bragging about being change leaders in the world. Actually, it's a great culture to have.
The only constant over there is the change.
One important factor, just to add to what Wael and Omar said, the ability to take a risk is very important. And this means that you're willing to fail, but when you fail, you're going to stand up again and try again. This is very important. And this is the transformation that we are seeing. And I was in Dubai myself talking about that. And I feel that they are willing to fail and then stand up and continue going
and learn from it. Yeah.
Yes,
and learn from our failures. We learn from our failures.
And at the same time, being able to critique ourselves. There is nothing wrong with saying, well, I have failed, or you actually have failed. This is one. And also comment to Mr. Hattan about the skills. We need to have, today, the name of the game is to learn new skills. Otherwise, you will not be able to survive. Whatever the application is, whatever the industry is, whether you are in education or manufacturing, spacecrafts. So you have to learn all the time. Otherwise, you have no place in the society.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Professor, I would like to say that I'm really in love with your tone of wisdom. You represent the wisdom. It's really nice, actually. Your tone and the input, the insights. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, I was privileged to work in many industries. Of course, education one, but I was, as I mentioned, I was with IBM all the way from computers and data science all the way to applications in petroleum. I worked for GE, sorry, not GE, GM and Ford, process control and things of this sort. So I think it is about time, and this is why I really love to support Shireen's effort. We need to bring this home. We need to bring it to Egypt and the Arab world, because we have a chance, we have resources. And, there was a discussion with my son, who's a professor at MIT. We had a discussion whereby he said, Baba, do you know why Europe and Egypt and the Middle East is faster in communicating than America? I said, no, I don't. They said, because America invented telecommunications the first, and now they put everything in concrete. They cannot actually easily change it. But in Egypt, now we have, companies that actually rise and they do new things, very agile. And you mentioned, Wael, about the agility, and so did Omar as well. Agility in producing. You're willing to jump ahead and do things very quickly. This is where we stand today.
Sure.
So we still have more questions. So
Yes, go ahead.
stay tuned.
Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
More questions. Okay, so it's not. We start by Milos, and then everyone gets his turn. If you want to add, when do you expect changes? Is it gradual change or a major change? So, what do you think, Milos? And then
changes are already happening now as we speak, and they're happening for quite some time. Are they gradual or major or disruptive, let's say? Usually before, let's say, pandemics, it was slowly, the digital transformation was very slow. It was just discussed among few companies or a few people in the companies. Yet when we always say, well, pandemics pushed us towards digital transformation, it's correct. It actually showed us how bad we are in digital, and let's say in agility and flexibility of the company towards any critical events, disruptive events. So basically, at that moment, everyone started thinking, okay, how we should operate, how, especially manufacturing facilities, how we're going to operate if we have all the workers at home. Those are the times when major changes happened. That's when we learn how we can do things in a new way, and that pushed everyone, every manufacturing company, or even us, towards the different way of thinking. So definitely the changes are changes happening, and it's not anymore just gradually. Now it's sped up. I believe it will just speed up and gaining bigger and bigger momentum.
Definitely.
You need both, actually. You need both disruptive change as well as graduate change, because disruptive does not happen on a daily basis.
Of course.
Yeah, I think adding to Dr. Mohsen's comment here, I see that upstream, where the technology is being generated, like in Silicon Valley and parts in Europe, the digital transformation tools and tools, hardware and software and technology in general, is very disruptive. Yet when we go down to the market, I think it's a little bit more cautious on adopting these technologies. And I think this makes sense. We see a lot of companies that the bigger ones, I'm speaking here mainly of North America, that are leading this change regardless of they're not really thinking of quick ROIs. They are thinking of long-term, how this is going to transform the way they do business. And this is very good because it's going to give very good examples to other fast adopters and followers who will follow later with the clear case studies of success and utilization of the tools, so on and so forth, that would let them gradually follow up and get into the cycle. So yes, there is disruptive change in some parts, and there is very ambitious yet cautious steps in other parts of the ecosystem, I would say.
In fact, we dealt with COVID on the basis of disruption, because all of a sudden we have a pandemic and we don't have any treatment. So Pfizer and Moderna and other companies had to come up with solutions immediately. So after a couple of months, there was a medication or the vaccination available. That's the disruptive part. But later on, the third and the fourth shot are more of what you just said, Omar. The cautious steps that we take.
Yes.
So it's interesting. So we move to the next question. I always tell people talk about industry 4.0, but sometimes in some companies you have people are 1.0, and that's because of leaders are 1.0. So how can we move our people and managers and leaders from 1.0 or 2.0 to 4.0? What do you think, Omar? And everyone, please join. Omar, please.
Well, I think there are two parts here. I think, first of all, there are market forces and dynamics that are going to inevitably push organizations into change no matter what. It's the smarter organizations will actually go ahead of the game, and they will initiate their change before it is inevitable. However, as we see, there are market forces that are pushing companies day by day, and they are getting very more aggressive and stronger. Competition from other low wage areas. We are talking about new technologies emerging that makes producing these products easier and faster. Rising raw material prices, for example. We see the changing demographics and the requirements of customers are continuously changing towards we need new products with new features, so on and so forth. So this is a force that continues to be increasing and crushing the manufacturers. On the other hand, Industry 4.0 is now gaining more and more good reputation, I would say. It's a hype. People are looking and trying to figure out how to implement. Technologies are emerging and getting more and more mature. So every organization will reach a point that they would say, okay, now that we're comfortable enough to take this leap. It's going to happen anyway. I think that, again, going back, it's the role of the leaders to initiate the change. Otherwise, they will be doing the change under panic and under crushing conditions that are very risky.
And maybe at that time, they will not have the time to go and do the change.
Exactly.
This is it.
I can give an example for Nokia when they
It's
have
very risky.
An issue,
it is risky,
at
exactly.
the time.
It might risk their existence as manufacturers in the ecosystem.
Yeah, you should start early as possible and definitely have and organize yourself and have a good strategy or plan to initiate all this. And definitely, as a first idea of what to do is doing the digital maturity assessment, understanding where you are exactly now and where you want to go. Jumping from 1 to 4, 1.0 to 4.0, sorry, 1.0 to 4.0 is a huge leap. I mean, it's a huge jump. Definitely, there is not easy to do this. Even from 1 to 2 is huge, but without a good plan, without a proper planning and some proof of concepts and projects, there is you cannot persuade people to go this way unless they see the benefits.
And training as well. And training, Milos.
Yeah, and training, education is the first part of it. So you need to educate both the C-level, the C-suite, and also the people on the bottom, because otherwise they will not know what they're doing. They're just doing something.
True.
Yes,
May I have
Just to have, sorry, just one of my clients, they are based in UAE, and the company is a big corporate. They have factories all over the world. And here calls me the chief operations, the guy, the operations VP. He said, Shireen, the company bought this software from this company, company X, software for more than $250,000. Actually, the machines are not ready to be connected to this software. The plant is not ready. They paid the money. They expect something and it's not coming out.
But this is poor planning, actually. This is poor planning. I think Milos will
this is
agree
poor
with me
management.
on this, right?
This is yeah.
There's no planning. There's no management.
I believe
I don't even have words for this. It's really
this is disastrous.
Wrong way of thinking.
Yeah.
Anyway,
We believe.
We all heard about it, but I wanted to hear from Hattan about this people 1.0 to 4.0 because I see lots of investment. So many things are happening in the kingdom. So would you like to share?
Yeah. From our side, I believe, as also my colleagues were saying also about, they cannot go and have a move, direct move from 1.0 to 4.0. However, they need to accelerate their efforts. The world now, they are in a time of discussion of 5.0. So if they did not catch the 4.0, the gap will remain between the advanced countries and advanced companies versus our companies. So if they did not catch the train, they will miss it.
Yeah,
of course.
Correct.
Of course.
Well, actually, Mr. Hattan, it is a matter of, it's a question of survival. So if you do not learn, you're not going to make it. It is as simple as that. So you don't have a choice because you're going to be left out. All the at the end, you are producing something that is acceptable or not acceptable to the end user. So the end user now has a spectrum of possibilities. So if you are not within those possibilities or opportunities, you're gone. This is the problem.
Yeah.
True. May I have an input in here, if you allow me? Basically, I love the rule. If you've read the book From Good to Great,
Yes.
Yeah.
Rule number one is who's on the bus, then what? This is the basic fact, actually. Who's with you on the bus, then the change will happen inevitably. We will go together. And of course, from the experience, the thing is, we try to make dual coaching pairs. You can never go through the coming change with old people only or young people only. You have to have the mix. So from HR perspective, from leadership perspective, we try to have the dual coaching mix between the young, more technology-oriented people and the wise people of the business who understand people and market needs and movement and so on. So this mix is crucial as well.
Yeah, that's a good strategy.
I'm not as optimistic as all of you, by the way, because in 2007 and 2008, we had big problems in supply chain because of top management lack of proper decision making, and we are paying for it now. So I still feel that top management don't understand what digital transformation is. They are not that good in using data and building the use cases, and they rely on some people. So I think we will suffer in the near future. Maybe I'm not as optimistic as you.
But I believe, Shireen, after Corona pandemic, Corona was the game changer for digital transformation.
For us, but not for board members or decision makers, because people tell them we did it. Here you have the reports. They don't understand the difference between a control tower, which is prescriptive, telling you how the business should run, from just a simple dashboard. They get easily settled. They are happy with less. This is my problem, Hattan. Okay.
Well,
of course,
that will lead the companies to perish on the market, because either you will learn from your mistakes or learn from your peers how they improve themselves and lead, or you will just perish from the market or just be somewhere at the bottom.
Milos, if everything has to be translated into money, like for example, if I have a factory,
yeah,
the factory is having a second grade of 2%. I
Yes.
can build a system without high cost to understand the factors and optimize the process and look for the golden batch. If I follow the traditional thinking, they would tell me 2% defect is okay, we can live with it. But in reality, you're looking for autonomous quality, for zero defect.
Yes.
That's what they have been looking for all the time. But they will feel like too much effort. I will not gain something out of it. No,
we
it's
can.
not about the defects, it's about many things. But still, this reflection, this link, interconnectivity is not there.
That's what I meant. Culture.
If you see now, most of the countries are talking about sustainability. I think if we did not think of that, the next generation will suffer. If today the defects is 2% is okay with existing raw material prices inflation, believe me, those CEOs who's thinking on that, they will be out of the game. They will lose their market share, they will lose their business, they will lose the future, they will lose everything, and they will lose whatever they're in our hands.
But it's ROI game because we are short-sighted. We only look everything saving ROI, saving ROI.
I think Shireen, it's our role as consultants and as technology providers to come up with ways to because this is a prevalent
raise awareness.
I mean, raise awareness and find out ways to, because if it's not really easy for industry professionals to understand it, then there's something wrong with the answers that we're giving. I think it's an ongoing thing of trying to figure out how to convince them and give them answers that really make sense. We know that this is the only way to succeed. Hatan here is giving very good examples, and everyone is quite sure that this is the only way to go, but apparently there is something missing in how we present this narrative in front of the customers.
Definitely.
What do you think, Milos, about this?
Yeah, well, sorry, actually.
Just one thing, it's what we have been discussing and learning for a while from people and experts in supply chain and all the world, that when you ask your company, what is your goal to make profit? It's a stupid answer, because you should be there for triple bottom line, because it's not just about money economic. You should look at the environmental, the social one, and everything. That's a shift in mindset. If organizations and leaders believe in triple E bottom line, maybe it's an advantage or it's an opportunity.
My understanding of all this is actually we need to do the reframing of the questions or the goals that CEOs are looking at. Definitely, when I'm discussing with the C-level executives, I'm always asking them, do you know how much the status quo of your company costs you? Do you know how much it costs you to keep the things as they are? Because you're losing money. You're losing money here on this process, on that process, because somebody's doing a manual job and instead of doing it automatically because it's possible. How much money do you think you're losing? And they always think maybe it's 2%, 3%. Basically, it's almost 20% that they're losing. And when you put that in money, in terms of money, how much on a yearly revenue it is, depends on from company to company. But this way of thinking, I managed to persuade, let's say, I don't know, maybe 10 people, 10 CEOs to change their mind and invest, because they realize that they're losing money that they can invest in something or buy a new Mercedes. I don't know. I mean, whatever they want. But basically, they realized how much money they're just throwing away in the wind instead of doing something with it. So maybe the way of reframing or retelling the story in a different way is something that that will help them to understand.
Yes.
But of course,
we want to take also good examples.
It also, sorry for just to finish, just a minute. So it makes sense. Everything goes together with the culture. So that we mentioned before, a culture of how they will change their mind. Will they change their mind? Is it a culture of industry that is a traditional, it's a very narrow-minded, that's how we do it for hundreds of years, why should we change something?
Yes.
It makes sense to change, but if they don't want to change, it will be their loss. So basically it's something that has to be presented. Okay, here you go, you will lose this if you're not changing, but if you don't, I mean, we cannot change it in 2 months prior to some, I don't know, deadline or whatever. It's too late. So it has to be gradually presented to them, and so they have to accept it, let's say, as a longer story. So it has to be I don't know, a sales pitch, but better packed or packaged. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think we will also get help from winning and succeeding successful case studies like in Savola, for example. I'm very interested to understand deeper and more how this was pushed through the management, and how are they evaluating the, maybe at a later time, maybe we're not ready for this discussion now, but it's something that I'm very interested in because it's a success story in the region, and it should be spread out for other manufacturers to really make use out of it. So I would like to connect with you, Mr. Hattan, at a later stage too.
We can connect offline. Actually, we have been in EUTECH World Congress in Barcelona a couple of months ago, where we announced SFSF. We call it SFSF Vision, Savola Future Smart Factories.
Mm-hmm.
So we can be connected offline, and we can share some of experience and.
Yes, please. I would love to. Yeah. Okay.
Great.
So this is the last question, because I think you answered everything. Thank you very much. Even I wanted to share one slide because some people asked me about this. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's for all participants, because people ask about resistance, change management, what should be done. So it's a mix. If we talk about digital transformation, it's combined of having the right strategy, or otherwise it will not be a real digital transformation, engagement, innovation, technology, and data analytics. So we need everything in one place to make it happen. So you need the right strategy, otherwise it will be small document, change it from paper to digital. So we call it digitization, not real digital transformation. We need the right engagement of everyone in organization, otherwise it's resistance. As well mentioned, it's not about asking people to leave. We are not doing it for people to leave us and go away. No, it's for people to stay, but to find more value-added jobs, to do different things, to use the mindset, to use the thinking, to use the wisdom, because most of the knowledge of the organization is lost with people who leave the company. We don't have, even if we write it in SOPs, even if you write it in manuals, it's still there, the judgment, the decisions. That's why you need the technology to help you. And you need innovation, because if you do just digital transformation to do the same things without innovation, forget about it, because if you don't have innovation, just it's incoherent action. You're just doing it because it's a fad. You need something new, you need to add. You need to use the right technology. Otherwise, if we talk about it without getting people the technology, it's frustration. And data and analytics, without data, we will be stagnant. So that was the last slide I wanted to share with everyone. And we would like to thank you all. Thank everyone in this group. And I'm looking at the questions. Just one last question. Someone is asking, how do you overcome the challenges and resistance to change the people in certain culture? Do you have anything about certain culture? Milos, you have been working in different countries, like public sector. Anything about public sector specific from Milos and Dr. Mohsen? You have worked with public sector. So would you like to say something about public sector?
Me first.
Please, go ahead.
Thanks. Well, public sector is a very specific one. They are the policies are pushed by governments. So definitely, I worked for Serbian government. I mean Serbian public entities, and I know how Serbia here is really pushing digital transformation as a, let's say, a key factor in growth of the country. As well, I worked in UAE and Saudi Arabia, where, for example, in Saudi Arabia, 2030 vision really helped us a lot to push a lot of Industry 4 technologies towards the market, towards the, let's say, public entities. For example, I worked in KAXT. I believe Hatan is aware of.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I worked in KAXT for establishing a center of excellence for Industry 4. This was really pushed by the government because they really needed to have everything under one roof. It depends. Working with public entities is, let's say, hard. So they will not do anything unless they're told or pushed by the top government, sorry, to do anything. So projects over there are interesting.
I pity you for this question, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but definitely, public entities are let's say the gold projects, but still they are not the drivers of the market. SMEs are the drivers of the market. 95% of the market are SMEs. So we need to work on raising the knowledge of the owners of everyone in SME level to actually push this motor to start working on it. Otherwise, having a center of excellence somewhere doesn't mean that the government is booming with Industry 4 or whatever. It really has to happen on the ground level. And with the education, with the cultural change, it will happen. It takes time, unfortunately. It's not something that will happen overnight.
So, Dr. Mohsen, can you give a comment?
First of all, I just wanted to make another comment for another question that I'm inventing now, which is data analytics is not statistics. Data analytics is one thing and statistics is another. It builds on the top of the basics of statistics, but it learned from engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, physics. All these things actually is data analytics. I just wanted to get this taken care of. Now, going back to your question, Shireen, yes, small to medium enterprise are extremely important. And these are both the disruptors that we talked about and those people who actually incrementally increase the quality of the product and the acceptance of the product. Governments, I have worked with governments both in Egypt and I was in the advisor to the United Nations at one point in time in my life. Very difficult to deal with because they set the directions for 20, 50, 100 years ahead of time. So, and sometimes with that, there is some rigidity. But again, those disruptors, small to medium, 2 people, 3 people, like Talabat in Egypt, and Uber. Now Uber is becoming a huge company. These are the ones who actually drive the market. Electric car didn't come actually from nothing. It came from, yesterday I was actually in the supermarket and I read an article in the Science magazine. Here, it gets published in the UK about a 17-year-old, basically child, who has sequenced all the bluefish genome. I was amazed. 17-year-old. This is a huge undertaking. He has been working on that for the past 3 years. So he was a child when he started the project. So going back to what Milos said, it starts with the small to medium companies, the ones and twos. And this is the basic idea for disruption for the future, the present and the future.
True.
Thank you, Big Tom. We are on time, so we need to celebrate. So at the end,
I will give you something to celebrate with, Shireen. Actually, I'm on the contrary side of you. I think that the future is very optimistic. The businessmen who raised the economy starting 17s and 80s are now delivering to the second generation or third generation of management teams, and more younger people are taking the lead. And of course, I can see it. Of course, they are well educated, well oriented towards technology and growth. The future is bright. Rest assured.
Well, having said that, Wael, there is one little thing that I need to add, that our educational institutions are lacking behind, way behind.
Way behind.
I was the dean of computer science and engineering in one of the Egyptian universities, and I have discovered that we are way behind everybody else in the game. Companies like Google, Microsoft, and others, they ask for skill sets, how to do things, how to solve a problem, not to have the certificate of the solar system. Ask Hatan. He will tell you, this knowledge might not be what I'm looking for to advance my business and product. Yeah, education is very important, and we're lacking that.
True. And management education specifically.
So it's a gap. It's a gap. So I want to close on time because we had a long day, and I see nice people from different places all over the world. So that's really amazing. Okay. So thank you to everyone who stayed with us all the time. We will send you all the glossary. We will send you all the presentations. We will share with you the PowerPoint. It has been very informative. So I see people. Thank you all. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's really.
Thank you so much.
Great. Iman.
No, we've been having a lot of audience.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very good, Iman. Very, very good.
Just to say, hooray! Thank you. And
thank you, Shireen, for this very interesting conference and the efforts. Of course, it's very nice.
So we have prepared the appreciation certificate for everyone. So we will send it to you all via email to thank you for this. Thank you for your participation. Thank you, everyone. It has been fantastic, every one of you. So we'll send it to you via email because we are really glad you could manage the time, commit your weekends. Thank you for your time and your knowledge and your passion, and that's really great. Okay, so we learned a lot today from you all. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a great weekend. Enjoy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.